All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is 5 p.m. West Coast time, 2 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on the East Coast, and 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. I am Mad Statter. This is Chatter with Statter, and it looks like we've got a couple folks hanging out in the Chatterbox, waiting to get this party started. So, let's get this party started. Excelente. All right. We have got Andre in the house. How's it, Andre? We've got Gina coming in from the East Coast. We've got Shock coming in from the East Coast. And you know what else we have? We've got the gear. That's right. We've been so lucky these days. We've got the gear of resolution? Yeah, there we go. The gear of resolution. And so if Twitch is being twitchy, feel free to downgrade your stream. And if you're watching on YouTube, well, why are you watching on YouTube? Glad you're catching the rerun, but come join us on Twitch. 5 p.m. Sundays and Wednesdays, West Coast time, so you can be part of the live chat. But if you are watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, then. Exactly. Behold, the gear of chat. That is what we've got, Andre. Okay, so today is Sunday school. That's right. We're going to Sunday school today. No, not that kind. I'm going to teach you a little bit about Washington landscapes and how the landscape got to be the landscape. But before I do that, I want to say, hey, how's it to Kenny from the Cove? And I want to say, hey, how's it to E-Music? All right, there we've got it. We have got it. So, all hail the gear. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on right now. Right now in Washington. If you guys caught the live stream last night, not really a live stream. I mean, it was a live stream. If you caught the silly movie Zoolander last night, you would have heard me talking about what's going on in the Puget Sound. What's going on in the Puget Sound is we've got the worst quality. Seattle City has got the worst quality of air, I think, like in the world right now. That's because the state of Washington has caught itself on fire. And I was trying to explain to all y'all what the color of the sun looked like. And right after the movie last night, I got on my Facebook feed, and one of my friends from Bellingham happened to catch a picture of the sun. This was not at sunset. This is like several hours before sunset, but this is absolutely what the sun looked like. There is no filter on this picture. So last night when I tried to explain the sun, I wasn't sure if it was if it was red or if it was orange or if it was pink, and I just didn't know what color to describe it as. That's the color I was trying to describe. Like I said, absolutely no filters going on in this particular street or picture. At least I'm pretty sure it was just a cell phone picture taken to post on Facebook. I certainly did not add any filter to it. And considering it looked exactly like the sun that I witnessed with my own two eyes, I'm thinking that that there was no filter on it. Now, because you guys know, you know who I am and you know what I like. I like maps. That's right. Hey, Pussycat. We are talking about how Washington State is kind of on fire right now, and how the sun is a how the sun is a crazy color. But why is that happening? It's happening because we're on fire. So this is a fire map I took from wildfire.org or wildfiretoday.org or something like that. And right now, on the western side of the Cascades, has 4 different particular fires that they're dealing with. The western side of the Cascades rarely sees wildfire activity like this. All these fires, from my understanding, were started by lightning strikes. But these particular fires are kind of unusual for our area. Western side of the Cascades is usually very wet and not as susceptible to forest fires the way the eastern side of the Cascades is susceptible. These fires right here that you're seeing in the fire map are all western side of the Cascades. At the very top, we've got the Chilliwack fire that borders British Columbia and Washington State. Then we've got the Bolt Creek fire. That's the biggest fire, and as of last night, it was 0% contained. I have no idea if it's contained right now or not. So far, I can tell you that two of the main highways that cross the state, Highway 2 and Highway 12 that go over the mountain passes, they have been closed due to wildfire activity. Then further south, we've got the Goat Rocks fire, which is, I think the Goat Rocks fire is what's causing most of the smoke to be drifting into the Puget Sound area. Goat Rocks fire is right around Mount Rainier. And then way further south, you've got the Cedar Creek fire, and that's coming from, that's in Oregon. And that is most likely bringing in most of the smoke that Portland, Oregon is seeing. Portland, Oregon right now is not the worst air quality this country has to offer. Seattle's got that honor, but Portland is, I think, running at number 3 or 4 right now. So we are definitely looking at some weird color sepia-toned skies these days. And so I want to go back here because as I was babbling about the fires, we have Andre saying, and when we had the Oakland Hill fires, it looked like the orange end of the world. Yeah, exactly. And Andre, thank you so much for throwing down all of those gift subs for everybody. Pussycat, you went through this in 1998. Florida was on fire. Every county had a fire out of control. Wow. Now, see, that's weird to me because I know that Florida is a very warm state, but I always think of Florida as being kind of wet. And so like, whoa, every single county in Florida had a fire that was out. Wow. That's insane. And, yeah, Andre, hey, Washington State, welcome to California, state of sky. Exactly. Hey, Darlene, good to see you. We are talking about the state of I don't really know if I can call it weather, but the state of the sky in Washington. And I think you were here last night when I was trying to explain the color of the sun. So one more thing. That is what the color of the sun is looking like the last couple days, due to the smoke haze in the sky. No filter on that sun. That sun is, that's what the sun looks like. And, let's see here. Pussycat, you had the same thing happening with the Sahara dust this summer, but no fire yet. Well, yay for no fire, but are you telling me that dust from the Sahara traveled to the United States, to Florida? Is that what I'm reading? That's crazy, dude. And yeah, Kenny from the Cove, that's exactly what I was wondering. Did that fire include the Everglades? I mean, like, how do you catch a sponge on fire, right? So yeah, very confused there, but let's see here. It gets worse. The skies stay orange and you don't have to wear a mask, but at the end of the day, your mask is all black. Yeah, totally. I've been staying inside. So, last night I was going to go to, it's a festival that my town puts on. It's called, Arts Aglow Festival. And it's a after dark festival for glowing artwork, lanterns and things like that. I was going to go wander downtown and check it out. I was even thinking about getting some footage. But I was just like, I'm not going to go wander around outside in all that smoke. I've got lung issues. So I decided not to. So unfortunately, no footage of that. And Pussycat, you're right. The dust does make for some beautiful sunsets. I have no doubt about that. Let's see here. Wow. Okay. So the sand's coming through the higher atmosphere all the way to the USA, says Darlene. And Shock is like, oh yeah, dude, I totally have heard of that. That is so crazy. That is just so crazy. All right, let's see here. So eMusic was saying, I was listening to the Kanakapila radio show this morning on a radio station in Northern California. The DJ could hardly speak. He'd been outside with the smoke in that area. It's close to where Poppy Shaney lives. Okay, so I'm assuming then that California, as per usual, is also on fire. So not at all surprised about that. And Gina, you're making me a little bit jealous. You got rain today. Oh man, I would love to see some rain coming through. Actually, you know what? I'll pass on the rain. I mean, I'd love the rain, but I will happily pass on the rain if it goes and hits the mountains, goes and hits that flippin' fires. So let's see here. Whoa, are you flippin' kidding me, Pussycat? It didn't rain from January to October? Wow. Craziness. I can't even imagine what that's like, what with me living in the Evergreen State, which is a bit of a misnomer because really only the west side of the state is the Evergreen State. The east side of the state, not even close. And speaking of the east side of the state, that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today on Sunday School. Now, when I say Sunday School, don't go running for your Bibles. Don't go running for the holy water. We're going to be talking about floods and volcanoes. So that, and we're going to talk about dinosaurs. And we're going to talk about dinosaurs. So there you have it. Malka, good to see you. I am doing great. I got your email earlier today with all those DVDs that you took pictures of. Pretty much all of those DVDs look like something StatterBox at the cinema would be willing to show. So for those of you who are not aware, Malka used to be a long distance truck driver, and he has got a DVD collection that, that the Queen of England would envy, probably, right? And so he has graciously offered to share some of his DVDs with StatterBox at the cinema. And so right now we're trying to figure out which ones to get rolling. And so forgive that little private conversation between Malka and I right there, but it really affects everyone. So nothing that's secret. And Kenny from the Cove, you used to teach Sunday school? That's, well, Kenny, I promise you this Sunday school, it's going to be very different than the Sunday school that you taught. And Shock, thank you for reminding me, because we do have music today. We have music every day, as long as I remember to play the music. So thank you so much for reminding me there. And oh no, eMusic, you're spinning and can't hear the show. Cell tower having trouble all day. Bummer. Well, remember we can adjust down, but I'm guessing you know that, and I'm guessing you already did that. And so hopefully it will work, but it sounds like it's not. Andre, oh my goodness, thank you for the bits. And Kenny from the Cove, thank you so much for those bits. And let's see here. Yeah, it sounds like it, Pussycat. That was a horrible summer. Temperatures in the hundreds and no rain for like a quadrillion months in a row. 11 quadrillion months in a row, actually. And Andre, you're going to get your Bible of Maps and your Bible of Geology so you can follow the chat. All right, well, that's kind of Bibles that you might want to to pull out, because I love me some maps. And Melka, I'll definitely shoot you an email back with a little bit more details. But like I said, all those DVDs that you showed the covers of in that email, those all look like, I hadn't heard of some of them, but they looked like, why not? But the ones that I had heard of, like I'd even seen some of them and was like, oh yeah, that's a good one. I have forgot about that one. So yeah, I think your instinct on what to offer up is probably pretty flippin' on point. And so it looks like we've got Andre throwing down bits upon bits. And Shock Mobile probably doesn't get a gear. Okay, well, that makes sense. So let's see here. Let's see. Oh, Darlene, I missed that you threw down some biddies. Thank you so much. And you guys, I don't know what is going on with me today, but I feel like, as you've seen before, for some reason, every once in a while I get like this feeling like there's a hair on my nose, and today is one of those days. So if I keep clawing at my nose, that's why. Just be warned, I'll try not to claw at my face, but I'm finding myself wanting to. So let's see here. I'm not sure. So Andre and Darlene and Kenny, and I don't know if I missed. Oh wait, who is that? Okay, that's Andre again. All right, you guys, a lot went on when I was babbling, and so any kind of bits that I did not thank you for, that is my fault, my bad. I want to thank you. And Darlene, I see those ones. All right, Darlene, thank you again for those bits. Woohoo! And Andre, it's the bad air that makes me itchy. I would love to blame the bad air on my itchy skin, but I've had this itchy nose problem before when the world wasn't on fire. So I'm not so sure, I'm not so sure that that's the case. Let's see. Okay, so, all right, you guys. Now, last night, I don't know what's going on here. My glasses are getting all steamy. So, last night I went to a bar last night, you guys, and I went to the bar down the street, and you know what? In fact, how about this? I am going to show you guys. There's a bar down the street from my house, and it's 70 years old. It's a 70-year-old Chinese food restaurant / bar, and basically it is a Andre, I'm getting steamy thinking about maps again. Yeah, basically, that's right. But at the bar, or this bar is basically like a snapshot in time. Now, I didn't get a whole lot of footage, but I did get a little bit of footage, and so I would like to share with you the little entryway to the bar that is down the street from my house. And there's a reason why I'm showing you this. But right now, I just want you guys to bathe in the glory, all that is the glorious bar that this is. Exactly. Such an old school Chinese restaurant. Now, I don't know if old school Chinese restaurants look like that in all y'all's neck of the woods, but on the West Coast, that is the quintessential old school Chinese food restaurant, and accompanying bar. And for those of you who don't know, Chinese food restaurant bars notoriously have heavy pours. I mean, notoriously have heavy pour bars. And this particular one is no exception to the rule. Mauka, I have no doubt in my mind that you in Astoria have one that might as well be identical. Like I said, these are the quintessential old school Chinese food restaurant / bars. This particular one, by the way, Andre, you are correct. That's the one right next to the 7-Eleven and Thai food place on First Avenue near my house. This one was established in 1952 and quite literally has not changed once. Not the wallpaper, not the nothing. Nothing about it has changed for 70 years. It is a snapshot in time. So I really, really love this particular bar just for the atmosphere, right? But the reason why I'm bringing it up is when we were at the bar, or when I was at the bar last night, I was talking to another guy at the bar, and exactly, Kenny, if it ain't broke, you got it. And so I was talking to this other guy who's kind of a regular, and he makes soaps, toothpaste, deodorant, and lip balm, natural stuff for a living. He sells it at Pike Place Market. That's what he does. He makes soap. And I said, well, I don't really use normal deodorant. I use this stuff called Lumi. And he was just like, oh, Lumi is the enemy. They're my main competition, blah, blah, blah. And And so we got into a little bit of an argument about that. Anyway, I ended up selling a marketing idea to him. I came up with a word that, frankly, I had been using to describe Lumi. And he was like, well, does Lumi use that word in their advertising? And I was like, no, I made that word up. And he's like, I need that word. And so he's going to start using it in his advertising. Anyway, so what I thought we could talk about for a second is, what kind of stuff you've got. And so Lumi, just so you guys know, oops, here we go. Lumi is, it's something that you're going to see commercials for basically online. Like Darlene just said, you saw a commercial, and you might remember these commercials. It started out like with a lady in a subway, drinking a cocktail, and, she's got her arm up, and somebody's, basically in a subway, you're packed together and her arm's up, and she's just not worried about her stench because she uses Lumi. Now, Kenny, Lumi is absolutely gender neutral, although it comes in different scents. I keep wanting to say flavors. It comes in different scents. And so, like, there's tangerine, there's lime, there's bay rum, there's coconut, there's a whole bunch of, and there's some more masculine scents as well. There's like a sandalwood cedar or something like that. And then there's unscented as well. And this particular deodorant you can use anywhere. You can use it on your pits, you can use it on your feet, you can use it any place that might stink. And when I say any place, I mean any place. They advertise it as that. And so, well, Darlene, it's not necessarily that there's different products for different parts of your body. Literally any of the products can be used any part of the body. It's just that they've got, like your deodorant canister might not be as easy to apply everywhere. And so they've also got cream and things like that. So the different products aren't necessarily for different parts of your body. It's just for ease of application to different parts of your body. But the actual product is basically the same, from cream to lotion to stick deodorant type thing. And so Andre, I can totally appreciate why you thought Lumi was a woman's based product, but actually no, it's not. It's anybody can use it. So so yes, and Pussycat, actually the manly scents are some of my favorite scents from the Lumi line. The bay rum is definitely gender neutral, and the sandalwood cedar is also sort of gender neutral, although a little more masculine, and super love those smells. So yeah, Kenny from the Cove, the commercial says, for all your stinky crevices. Now everybody has stinky crevices. Doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, right? You know what we're talking about here. And yes, Darlene, I have tried Lumi products. I've used Lumi probably for about a year now. And I have to say, because, okay, first off, actually, before we talk about Lumi, because this is the only product I can talk about, because I have experience with it. I want to first, though, so, we're giving Lumi shout out, and we're going to talk about Lumi, but the guy at the bar who has his own line, his stuff is called SodaWax. And SodaWax, he was saying, basically is a very similar product to what Lumi has. He just doesn't have the advertising campaign to get his product out there, right? Now he's got an online store, so you can get it wherever you are. And he actually has his products in stores as far away as Alaska, Pennsylvania, New York, all up and down the West Coast. So he's got his product out there. I have not used his product yet, so I cannot vouch for it. But I am looking forward to trying it. I can say I have used Lumi, and so I can only speak to the effectiveness of Lumi. That being said, I want to pimp out a local product, because local products are, if I can support a local product, if I like this just as much as Lumi, I will be switching to the SodaWax. And let's see here. Andre, SodaWax may be good product, but the name sounds like a cleaning product for the home, not the body. I can appreciate that. Now, his logic was, okay, well, first off, the first product that SodaWax created was a natural deodorant, and it was a baking soda-based deodorant, and it was a baking soda and beeswax-based deodorant. So Tony, the owner of the company, when he created the name, he wanted a name that was short. He wanted a name that was an easy website. And he kind of wanted to have an old-timey feel. And so he just figured like baking soda, beeswax, boom. That's how he got his product name. He realizes the shortcomings of it now. But the name's already out there, so it is what it is. But actually, you Andre, yes, you're on something there. And I don't know if it's a corporate influencer yet, Kenny, but you know, I did get paid. I got paid $1. Do I have? Yep. I got paid $1. I got paid $1 for my word. And if the word does ever come into public fruition, I will tell you what it was. So let's see here. Okay, but to get back to what Darlene is saying, have I used Lumi? Absolutely, I've used Lumi. I really, really like Lumi. Some days, I mean, honestly, serious, I have gone 3 days without taking a shower, and my pits don't smell after 3 days of not taking a shower. Now, the moment that Lumi stops working, and you stink like a high heaven. Oh my gosh, you stink. But when it works, it really, really works. Now, this is the caveat, and this really has nothing to do with Lumi. I think this is everything to do with traditional deodorant. If you went before using Lumi, I used aluminum-based antiperspirants like Secret, and so the aluminum, you know, it clogs your pores to keep you from sweating. So after you stop using the aluminum-based stuff, your body kind of freaks out because it's like, what? I'm allowed to start sweating now? And it like kind of like over pumps out sweat. Okay, maybe it doesn't for you, but for me it did. And so I went probably 2 months just stinking. I mean, it didn't matter how much I washed. It didn't matter if I washed. It just didn't matter. I consider it detoxing. I don't really know if that's the right word. But once that 2-month awfulness happened, then the Lumi really started to work. And so for those of you who do use aluminum-based antiperspirants, you might have a similar, I don't know if this Lumi's working. And it's like, well, it might not be the Lumi. It might be your body recalibrating its glands, as it were, you know? And so Darlene, yeah, they've been saying that the aluminum-based deodorants are potentially cause cancer. They've been saying that for a long, long time. In fact, when my mom had cancer, she was like, "Oh my God, did you know? You know, you need to stop using deodorant." And it was like, "Yeah, I've known this for a long time, Mom, but my mom, back in the day before she had gotten cancer, she was very vocal. I would say she probably was the original Karen, frankly. And so if somebody like stunk near her, she would make it known. You know, she would audibly gag, you know. And so after like 25 years of conditioning of like, you better not stink in public, and then my mom suddenly changing her tune, like, you shouldn't use deodorant. It's just like, yeah, it's a little hard to take from you, Mom. I'm going to still use deodorant. And so I did. But you're right. You're not supposed to. And so now I don't. And so for those of you who don't use antiperspirants already, if you switch to Lumi, then you're probably not going to have the problem that I did. But I absolutely, for like 2 months, yeah, it was, do you ever get so you can't even stand your own smell? You know, that kind of thing? Yeah. And so let's see here. Yeah, Andre, you've heard that when you go off chemical products, your body goes a bit crazy. And I feel like that's what it was, you know? So so it's like, I mean, Lumi didn't work for me at first, but I don't blame that on the Lumi, if that makes sense. But it sounds like then all y'all Old Spice type folks, Old Spice, God, that really does smell good. It sounds like you guys are all the traditional deodorant type people, right? It sounds like you guys aren't necessarily like Tom's of Maine or I guess what I'm saying, what's your guys' deodorants, man? You don't have to share this because it is kind of personal, but I'm just curious, like, what do you guys do to keep your stench from, to keep yourself from hating your stench? So let's see here. Yeah, Kenny, exactly. All those years you worked outside in the summer, nothing could stop you from stinking and sweating. You could have painted me with aluminum paint. It wouldn't have mattered. There you go. Yeah, and actually, speaking of working outside, et cetera, the founder of SodaWax, the reason why he invented the deodorant is because he was a glass blower. And so spending 12-hour days in a hot glass blowing studio, him and his coworkers were just staining their shirts yellow with the aluminum that was in their deodorants, and they wanted something different. And so that was actually the foundation upon which the SodaWax brand was born. And Shock, you live in a no deodorant household, and then Pussycat, you just take a shower. See, I don't know, man. I can take a shower, but after 12 hours, I can start smelling myself, and I just don't like taking showers twice a day. And let's see here. Spouse gets stinky pits, but neither of us use deodorant or antiperspirant. Honestly, I don't really know. I mean, I have yet to. Well, let's see here. I don't know. It's hard to say. Deodorants that just try to cover the scent as opposed to like neutralizing it is just kind of makes things worse. And let's see here. Andre, you did natural deodorant, but many do not do the job. Right, exactly. They don't do the job. And when you're not working with kids, those buggers have really sensitive noses, so use deodorant when you get those 12-hour days. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and not only do kids have the sensitive noses, they're also going to be the first ones to be like, Mr. Andre, you stink. It's just like, shut up, kid. That's not what I want to hear. Oh, you have an outdoor shower stall and you use it 2 times a day at least? Nice. Okay, well, I was about to say I'm a little bit jealous of your outdoor shower stall, but then I realized I don't know if I want one up here where I live, but if I were where you live, yeah, I'd want one of those. I would want one of those for sure. And Kenny, the only stain you got was from the salt stains. And then you use your Old Spice. There you go. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm assuming when you say you use your Old Spice, you're talking about the little stick, because they've got Old Spice stick now. I don't know if Old Spice is just a deodorant or if it's an antiperspirant deodorant. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. Old Spice smells really good. Old Spice smells really, really good. Alrighty, so, yeah, exactly, Darlene. Kids just don't filter their words and thoughts. And the aftershave, perfect. So you've got the Old Spice glow. Glow? We're gonna call it a glow. Kenny from the Cove, you've never used Old Spice, High Karate, or Brute by Fabergé. I don't know if I've ever even heard of High Karate, but I mean, everybody knows about Brute from Fabergé. At least if you were a kid in the 70s, you sure do. I remember those commercials. Andre, all those scents remind you of your granddad. So what is High Karate? Okay, is it an older? I have never heard of it. Yeah, I thought it was actually some sort of new brand. So Kenny from the Cove, I ain't old enough to know about High Karate. That's funny. I'm gonna have to go on a little quest to see what that smells like. Pussycat, you actually have an old bottle of it. All right, awesome. Wow. Okay, you know what, you guys? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna write this down because I've never heard of this, and you guys are just like, oh yeah, it's a good smell. I had some myself. Reminds me of Dad. Blah 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 blah. I feel like I want to know now. So, all right, you guys. So, we've talked a little bit about stinkiness and the parts, etc., etc. But now we're gonna switch gears completely. Now we're gonna talk a little bit more about. I'm going to talk to you, we're going to have our Sunday school now, I guess is what we're going to do. But before we have our Sunday school, we're going to say hey to Pacola T. Just landed home in fresh air, Hawaii. Can't stick around. Have a great week, everyone. You too, Pacola T. Good to see you. Glad you're home safe. And let's see here. Kenny, when your great aunt sold Avon. Wow, that's a brand I hadn't thought of in a long time. You are a lot of Avon Wild Country aromas. Okay. And let's see here. So Darlene's heard of High Karate, but her dad was an Old Spice kind of fella. Yeah, exactly. The fragrance was originally developed by the Leeming division of Pfizer and launched in '67 with the catchphrase, "Be careful how you use it." And so yeah, it was, basically Old Spice, Aqua Velva, right? Jade East and English. Oh, wait, hold on. So other versions were called Oriental Lime and Oriental Spice. High Karate was reintroduced in 2014. Got it. The commercial used to be a guy fighting off a bunch of women. Nice. That's funny. Yeah, I'm still curious though. I wonder if I smell it. I'll just be like, oh, that's what Jason wore. Or, oh, I know that smell. But yeah, who knows? My nose is going to have to go on a quest, as it were. But, okay, let's see here. Okay, yeah. Andre Madstatter likes men that smell old. Well, perhaps. And let's see here. Darlene's got a good question, though. What did you use as a young guy compared to now? That's a really good question. And hey, C Honda, good to see you. We're talking about various deodorants and fragrances that we pamper ourselves with. And let's see here. Yeah, and Darlene is wondering if the old men on the stream have different fragrances as an older gentleman as when they were a young buck. And I gotta tell you guys, I hope you use something different now than you did then. Not because what you're using or used was bad, but because today's youth has this horrific thing called Axe body spray. And I swear to goodness gracious, I swear to dog, if those teenage boys continue to use Axe as an adult, we're doomed. We're all doomed. We are all doomed. Let's see here. Buzzycat, you're wondering what it smells like too. And you still have the bottle from high school. Wow. Let's see here. So Kenny is saying young guy Halston or Drakkar, now Dial antibacterial deodorant soap. Actually, Dial antibacterial deodorant soap is a very harsh soap for sure, but it kind of smells good. Darlene, I've seen that and heard of Axe, but never really smelled it. Oh, Darlene, my best guess is you have. You were probably like 85 feet downwind from a teenager and you caught a pungent smell of awfulness. That would have been the Axe. I'm telling you, oh God, they put so much on and it is so strong and it just, the smell goes for miles. So I really, 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 I'm not trying to badmouth the young bucks. All I'm saying is I hope they grow out of their Axe affiliations. Not affiliations, what am I saying? I'm just hoping they get rid of their Axe. That's all I'm saying. Kenny from the Cove, Axe smells like hygiene isn't high on your list. Actually, you know what? I don't necessarily think that's the case. What I think is the case is Axe smells so strong that people who don't have hygiene high on their list think it's strong enough to cover their stench, but it's not. Instead, it creates this amalgam of awfulness that you can smell 85 feet downwind. Or not, but I think we can. I think we all know. Pussycat, you use Safeguard soap? I didn't even know they made that still. Wow. I remember... I feel like I remember commercials for Safeguard. Let's see here. It mixes with your stuff. And yeah, exactly, Kenny from the Cove. Axe could knock a buzzard off of a carcass. And Andre, the only thing stronger than the Axe down here is the skunk weed that you can smell from 10 cars away. Yeah, isn't that funny? How suddenly it's just like, whoa! Yeah, we have that in Seattle too, where it's just like you're driving along and suddenly you're just like go through this invisible green cloud of skunk weed smell, and you're just like, oh, I know what that is. Don't know where that came from, but I know where that is. Let's see here. Yeah, Darlene, exactly. You've had a couple bad experiences of pungent odors, too intense odors to try and cover up the stink, and it never works. Exactly. Sort of like, the bathroom spray after you do something. It's just like, wow, it smells like somebody took a dump on a lemon. It's just like that. I smell the lemon, but that's not all I smell. And Kenny, I would rather smell like skunk weed than Axe as well. I would rather all of the kids who wear Axe smell like skunk weed instead of Axe. You have got it. And no, I've never smelled durian. And honestly, I am really afraid to smell it. Come on, how does one get past the durian reputation to even give it a fair shot to taste? I mean, from what I hear, durian has actually, there's hotels in I don't know if it's like Vietnam or Singapore or wherever it is you can readily get durian. There are hotels that have banned it because it stinks so bad they've had to evacuate their flippin' hotel level because it stunk so bad. And so yeah, shock. Yeah, okay. So it probably, so it might even be, so it's probably Singapore. There's hotels in Singapore probably that don't allow the durian as well because it's not allowed in the subway. And there's durian in fruit salad, huh? Okay. And let's see here. Andre, they had it at a party at one of the schools you work in, and I was never near the classroom, but it smelled up the whole school. Right. So see, I mean, durian might be delicious. I'm not saying that it's not, but I don't know if I could ever get to the point of determining deliciousness just because of the flippin' smell. I just couldn't get past it. Kenny, of course, though. Durian may smell really bad, but at least it tastes really horrible. Okay, Andre, maybe it's Thailand that I was thinking of that has the ban on durian in the hotel rooms rather than Singapore. But I wouldn't be particularly surprised if Singapore had a similar rule, just because Singapore has a lot of flippin' rules about stuff. Really, C. Honda, your old office banned guava because it smelled raunchy. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever eaten a fresh guava, so I wouldn't really know. I've only drank in the guava juice. And exactly, Andre, they say it tastes really good once you get past the smell. but I don't really know if I can get past the smell at all. At all. Okay, so we have totally scattered this chatter, which is super flippin' awesome. I love it. And let's see here, Andre, you've got pineapple guava growing down the street. They don't smell. But C Honda's like, some guava brands really do smell. Yeah, you know, actually, I found out that there's a lot of different kinds of guava, apparently, and a lot of different kinds of passion fruits. So my experience on both of those fruits, I'm sure, is so limited, it's laughable. And let's see here, Kenny, if I had to smell like food, I'd want to smell like key lime pie. Well, Kenny, going back a little bit here. You know what? Check this out. I don't know if you see it or not, but SodaWax actually has a flavor of toothpaste, but also a scent of deodorant called lime and coconut. Now, lime and coconut isn't exactly key lime pie, but it's mighty similar, so you might like it. Pussycat, did you miss something? What is durian? Explain. I can only tell you that it is a fruit. I believe it is a large fruit. It is a tropical fruit. And when you take off the skin, which is sort of spiky, and you open it up to the fruit part that you're supposed to eat, apparently it smells like death. Like they have to evacuate hotel floors because somebody in the hotel ate a durian and reeked up the entire hotel floor. So yeah, okay, Shock, it's a big, spiky, smelly football. Yeah, so let's see here. Andre, you thought lime and coconut was supposed to not be good? I don't know what you mean by that. I think for a smell, it would smell delicious because I like how coconut smells and I like how lime smells. And honestly, I feel like even though there's not coconut in key lime pie, there's a coconut-esque essence. And it reminds me of key lime, or key lime pie reminds me of coconut-ish. So I figured lime and coconut scented deodorants might smell good. And yeah, I know about the song and the lime and the coconut, and the doctor says it'll make you feel better. So I don't know why you're saying that it's not good, but I've never tried lime and coconut together to like drink it or eat it or whatever. I don't know if I'd do that, but I certainly could think about putting it on my pits. And yeah, you could use the lime and coconut together and sing, I took the lime and the coconut and smeared it on my pits. That's right. That's what we could do. Let's see. And alrighty. So, okay, now, you guys don't want to learn about Sunday school, do you? Because we keep talking about coconuts and limes and durians and deodorants and stuffuses. But I'm going to drag you to Sunday school whether you like it or not. It's right. And first, we got to talk about the most important part of our history. That's right. We have to talk about dinosaurs. So we're going to talk about dinosaurs.
Museum made a remarkable discovery there. They found the fossilized thigh bone of a theropod. Dinosaur bones have been discovered in British Columbia, Oregon, California, Idaho, Montana, almost every state in the West. It was the first dinosaur bone, and so far only dinosaur bone, found in what is now Washington State. That's the question. Why aren't there more dinosaur bones in Washington State? So I think we ought to ask Nick of Nick on the Rocks.
Hello, Mossback. Nick on the Rocks here from the east side of the Cascade Curtain. Dinosaurs? Let's get started. We don't have hardly any dinosaur bones in Washington because we've been so active. All the flood basalts of eastern Washington, the Cascade lavas, the glacial till in Puget Sound. So we probably have more dinosaur bones, but they're way down deep instead of at the surface. Susha Island is a rare exception. But there's more to the story, as they say. That dinosaur lived in Mexico originally. It's an idea called Baja, BC, where originally Mexican crust is now up here in Western Washington and British Columbia. The movement from Mexico up here happened between 80 and 50 million years ago. That's the underlying story, the rich debate. Not all geologists buy the fact that the original location was Mexico. Some think it's Northern California, but even those guys agree. Did we find the dinosaur in Washington? Yes. Did the dinosaur live and die in Washington? No. Thanks for asking. Nick on the Rocks, KCTS, over and out.
So this is a cast of the first dinosaur bone found in Washington State. It was found in a prehistoric clam bed. I just have an idea for Ivers, which is 2 words, dinosaur chowder. The question is, why were their arms so tiny? I mean, what could you do with those little tiny arms? That's sort of the
Okay,
question, right?
so, C. Honda, I hope I didn't scare you away. This is Sunday school of the most important kind. It's the kind where we're talking about dinosaurs and lava and floods. That's right, dinosaurs, lavas, and floods. Oh my! And let's see here. Pussycat, the most pungent smell you've ever smelled was a trail off the road to Hana, Maui. This field of Hawaiian flowers and fruit trees smelled so sweet and beautiful next to a waterfall. You'll never forget it. Oh, see, now that sounds like something that a deodorant needs to be, or a lotion needs to be made out of, for sure. That sounds wonderful. And that's right, Andre, Ivers T-Rex chowder. For those of you guys, for those who haven't been with this stream from the beginning, you might not know what Ivers is. We talked about Ivers actually many, many streams ago. Ivers is a locally owned and operated fish and chip stand that's been in the Seattle area since like the 1940s. Very famous clam chowder. Anthony Bourdain used to literally, anytime he would land in Seattle in SeaTac, even if it was just for a layover, he would make sure to go to Ivers to get their clam chowder. So, world famous clam chowder, basically, and just little local fish and chips place. So when the little scientist guy was saying, you know, was talking about the Ivers clam chowder, that was what he was referencing. And Andre, you don't have to go back to Burien to get Ivers. You can go to Seattle. You can go to the Seattle waterfront. You can go all sorts of places. But Burien does have a branch of Ivers. And it's delicious. Yes, indeedy. So, in fact, actually, for those of you who go to Costco, I wouldn't be surprised if you could find Ivers clam chowder in Costco. From what I understand, they carry it in our local Costco, and I'm pretty sure if Costco in Washington carries it, it's probably going to be carried everywhere. So if you've got a hankering for some clam chowder, and you happen to be in Costco, and you happen to see this weird brand called Ivers, IVAR, Ivers, then by all means, grab it and give it a try, because it's pretty tasty. And let's see here. Puzzy, you truly believe that it was the Garden of Eden and this place was just untouched by development? Nice. And let's see here. Yeah, oh, Darlene, the first time you were in Hawaii is when you smelled the fresh plumeria flower. Totally makes sense. And yeah, it is. Isn't there... I don't like how flowers smell, but plumeria is 100,000% an exception to the rule. Plumeria is the way a flower should smell, in my opinion. Every flower should smell like a plumeria, right? I know, they really shouldn't, but they should. Oh, God, plumerias smell so good. Okay, so now we talked a little bit about dinosaurs, right? So this is a 3-part lesson. Dinosaurs, first lesson. Now, Nick on the Rocks, during a little dinosaur thing, mentioned we've got a lot of activity. We've got a lot of lava flows. We've got a lot of glacial till, etc., etc. A lot of stuff covering our bedrock in Washington. And in the bedrock is generally where you're going to find the dinosaurs. But our bedrock is super, super deep. So you generally don't find dinosaurs in Washington. Kenny, is there going to be a test? No, not at all. The only test that there will be is how funny versus annoying you find Nick on the rocks and his silly jokes, because Nick on the rocks definitely makes some silly jokes, and it is Nick on the rocks that we will be watching for the next 2 segments. Nick Zentner, by the way, he is a geology professor at Central Washington University. Central Washington University is in Ellensburg. Guess where Ellensburg is? In the central part of the state. And he has some fascinating lectures that go on for like an hour and a half. He'll be in front of a chalkboard for an hour and a half and just enthrall you with all of this, the story of how land masses are created, etc. But we're not going to sit in front of a chalkboard for an hour and a half. No. No. These are just little 5-minute clips to give you a brief overview. But if you do ever want to learn more about what Nick is talking about, just go to YouTube and search Nick Zentner, and he has a vast library of videos explaining anything and everything that to do with geology. And one of the most fascinating subjects that actually was my intro to Nick was the Baja to BC theory that was spoken of in that dinosaur clip that we just saw, where the crust, where the dinosaur bone was found, moved from Baja up through to Vancouver Island area, basically. And it is literally just Nick in front of a chalkboard, maybe 2 chalkboards, for an hour and a half, explaining to you how that happened. And it's just, oh my God. And it's great. But no, see, Honda, don't worry. We're not going to watch anything for an hour and a half. You can choose to, but we're not going to. So, the next, let's see here. Darlene, so if you want to find dinosaur bones in Washington, you got to dig very deep for the deeper bedrock layers. That's exactly it. And when I say deep, I mean like 4 miles deep. Like incredibly deep. And while Andre brings up a good point, if you dig that deep in an area with a volcano, it might not be too safe. These volcanoes are long since extinct. And so what we're going to do is we are going to, what are we doing? We're going to go to the next little video, and Nick will talk exactly about all of these things.
Crack the mysteries of the Earth. Discover the energy that drives a planet and builds mountains. Uncover buried treasure and see what makes mountains blow. Find out what shapes the top of the Earth and explore the secret world below. With me, Nick, on the rocks. Eastern Washington is one of the richest agricultural regions on the planet. Tree fruit, hay, vegetable crops, hops, mint, you name it. It all thrives in the rich volcanic soil, more than 100 feet deep in places. This is the fruit bowl of the nation. But did you know that this $5.5 billion industry sits directly on top of ancient, giant lava flows? 15 million years ago, volcanic eruptions blasted molten lava across eastern Washington. That happened more than 300 times. Each of these lavas is more than 50 feet deep across more than 200 miles. Unimaginable. It must have taken a giant volcano to make these giant lava flows, right? Mount Rainier is the biggest volcano in the Pacific Northwest. Did the giant lava flows come from Rainier? No. Basalt lavas like these do not come out. There's less silica here than the lavas in Mount Rainier. These guys traveled 300 miles. The lava flows in Mount Rainier, 5 miles or less. When they were active, the eastern Washington lavas looked like Hawaiian flows do today, orange rivers of molten rock. But the Hawaiian lavas are tiny compared to eastern Washington's giant lava flows, which totally buried a third of our state. Those lava flows are known as the Columbia River basalts because the Columbia River has cut deeply enough to expose just a couple of these lava flows. These guys are giant. There's more than 2 miles of lava beneath this boat. More than 300 separate eruptions, most of them between 17 and 15 million years ago, flooded much of the inland Pacific Northwest. A rugged mountainous landscape was almost completely buried in thick lava. Almost. This is Steptoe Butte, a mountaintop that kept its chin up above the deluge of lava. Think of the hundreds of mountain peaks that weren't so fortunate. They're down there under the basalt. But hey, what about that giant volcano? If it's not Rainier, where is it? Probably not where you'd expect. Less than 25 miles from Ritzville and the freeway, we've got our volcano. This is it. Not a mountain, a flat area in eastern Washington that has evidence of an eruption 15 million years ago. This is a fissure coming right through this area, a deep crack. I know you wanted a mountain, but we got something different. There's something in this picture that's unusual. It's very rare. That red stuff across the way, that's volcanic spatter. The fissure is right next door here. Magma coming out of the sky and falling right where I'm standing. So this is a close-up look at spatter. I mean, it's basalt, but it's like whipped butter. It's like pumice that's dark colored. You can imagine these globs of spatter just falling and then on the ground 15 million years ago. And here's the resting place of a bunch of these guys. There's tens of vertical feet of these globs that have just fallen. And they're still relatively fragile. I mean, you can pull that right out. Here's another piece of spatter right here. 15 million years ago. This is ground zero for the volcanic activity.
Alrighty, so that is part 2 of our 3-part situation, and that part has hinted at where we're going to go in the next clip, but you know me, I cannot let that last clip go without a map. So, you see that red dot over there on the eastern side of the Washington? That is Ritzville. That is where those volcanic vents basically started that flow, and all of that area that essentially is the white area, what both north, south, east, and west of that red dot is where those lava flows flowed. Now, where the lava's flows flowed also coincidentally later on had another phenomenon that shaped the landscape. So remember, we're talking about Washington State here, and you've seen all of my videos of what the Puget Sound Basin looks like. So these videos are all Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington is a different animal than Western Washington. Even though the state is called the Evergreen State, as I said earlier today, generally only applies to the west side. Like you can see here, all that green stuff, that's forests. All that stuff on the east side, that is not forested land, right? Now, here's the deal though, right? So we've got all these like miles and miles and miles of lava flows above the bedrock. that happened, what, 15 million years ago? Okay, well now like 14,000 years ago, we had an asteroid that hit the Greenland glacial ice sheet that caused such a cataclysmic melt in glacial water that we ended up having floods through the area. First off, before we go and talk about the floods, I want to show you what I'm talking about. These are the glacial ice sheets. So as you can see, some of these glacial ice sheets 14,000 years ago were covering the northernmost part of the United States of America. And the ice sheet nearest to Washington is the Cordilleran ice sheet. But it was the Greenland ice sheet that got hit by the meteor that caused the flooding to occur. Now the flooding, let me see if I can find, here we go. The flooding that I'm talking about here came through, and you might recognize some of these things. That's Washington right there. So the flooding came through and basically created the Columbia River Gorge. And Andre, exactly. Volcanoes, earthquakes, and great floods. Washington is sounding a bit biblical. There we go. That's our Sunday school tie-in. But all right, we've got the maps, and we will revisit the maps because we know how I feel about maps. But this is the last, I promise you, this is the last little video. Once again, Nick on the Rocks, and he's going to be telling us all about the floods. So, let's learn more about floods today.
Crack the mysteries of the Earth. Discover the energy that drives a planet and builds mountains. Uncover buried treasure and see what makes mountains blow. Find out what shapes the top of the Earth and explore the secret world below. With me, Nick, on the Rocks. Hey everybody, welcome to Dry Falls in eastern Washington. Have you been here before? This place is a desert, and yet it's the premier spot to learn about the Ice Age floods, the Missoula floods that came across eastern Washington. 15,000 years ago, there was a waterfall here, but not like the waterfall that you have in your mind, perhaps. Here on the lip of Dry Falls, there was more than 350 feet of water moving 65 miles an hour over this cliff. This is water from a bursting ice dam 170 miles away in Idaho that ripped through central Washington. A wall of water that dwarfed the local landscape with the energy of 10 times the power of all the world's rivers combined. An Ice Age flood with water, rock, soil, and icebergs 3.5 miles wide on a thundering journey to the Pacific Ocean. The fact that this lava rock is so full of vertical and horizontal fractures is the key to understanding why there was so much erosion here. So if this bedrock was hard metamorphic rock or granite, pretty much everybody agrees the floods would not have taken all the bedrock away. But this is basalt lava rock that is heavily fractured, cooling cracks from 15 million years ago. Look at how precarious some of these columns are. It's easy to pluck these guys away one by one with the Ice Age floods coming through. Just lift these columns, take them downstream. So where did all the rock go that was removed from the Dry Falls area? Did it get carried all the way to the Pacific Ocean? No. This is called the Ephrata Fan. These boulders are dropped as far as you can see. Boulders more than 400 feet deep. So these guys tumbled over Dry Falls and finally got dropped in this location. Now there's another reason that these boulders are worth attention.
That's what we want.
There's a new technique to work with the surfaces of these boulders to figure out exactly how many years they've been sitting here. In other words, there's a new way to determine the age of the Ice Age floods.
So the cosmogenic nuclide dating technique is very valuable because it brings something new to this story. It lets us date the landform specifically. So we can go to the Wallula Gap and we can date a giant boulder there and tell you when it was put down and massive water was coming through and backed up behind the Wallula Gap. We can date giant rafted boulders in western Wenatchee and tell you when a massive flood came through that area. We can talk about the Ephrata Fan and talk about when the debris dam failed. We can talk about these events that crafted these geomorphic features through time very specifically for the first time in the study of the Pleistocene megafloods.
The thundering torrent of water raged across eastern Washington through the Columbia River Gorge into the ocean.
So can you picture it? Can you visualize the Ice Age floods coming over Dry Falls, over that cliff, coming right through here and right at you?
All right, we've seen Nick's closing credits before, so I'll just cut that off. But but yeah, Andre, thank you for the bits, but also for sure, take a look around at the geology in your area, and by all means, everybody actually take a look at the geology around your area and see what's up. Because here we're gonna go back to the glacial. We're gonna go back to the glacial map for a minute. All those areas that were covered with glacial, Ice Age glaciers, those ice sheets, all of those areas have got to have glacial till remnants and striations of the landscape that are revealing, et cetera, et cetera. And let's see here, Pussycat, I saw. Oops, hold on. I saw what you were saying. That the sea level's rising, and you're like. You're kind of too close to comfort, in my opinion. Not trying to be all judgmental, but 10 houses from the beach, that's a little close for comfort, isn't it? And, I mean, awesome beachfront property soon? I hope not. And, let's see here. Oops, hold on. Computer's not doing things. And you're saying that the beach in Flagler mysteriously lost 8 feet of sand and exposed an anchor for the 1790s. No hurricanes or anything. The sand just disappeared. Weird. That must have been some strange, like, undertow that... Weird, Pussycat. That's weird. Exactly, Darlene. There are cool areas all around, and you've recently found some new places. Exactly. But anyway, Andre, what I was going to say to you, though, is Joshua Tree National Park. I don't know if you're going to believe this or not, and I'm not really talking just to Andre at this point, but Joshua Tree National Park has the San Andreas Fault going through it, and some of the rocks that we have on Vancouver Island came from Joshua Tree National Park back in the day. They can match up the rocks on each side of the fault, and the rocks that stayed in California stayed, but the ones that moved up, the Pohaku that hellied, moved up, and they're able to somehow match the rocks to a chemical level, basically. And so your terrains down in California have absolutely affected our terrains up here in Western Washington. Now, I don't know enough to say this, but I don't think you guys have necessarily the volcanic activity that we've had in Western Washington. But on the other hand, I don't know what I'm talking about. So maybe find out for us whether or not you did have some volcanic activity. Who knows? Pele could have some cousins all over the continental United States, or Turtle Island, as it has been known to call. And then, so we're going to go back one more time to a map because. So this is the route of the flood that we were just talking about. And if you see that great big body of water on the right-hand side of the map, that's what's known as the Lake Missoula. So if you ever hear of the Missoula floods, the Missoula floods are actually literally the largest flood this planet has ever seen that we know of so far. And this is what it was. On the left-hand side of that particular, on that left-hand side of the body of water is where there was an ice dam. And when that ice dam, which was mentioned in this previous little Nick video that we had, when that ice dam broke, all of that water that you see on the map is what flooded through Washington and through to Portland, and then of course out to the ocean. So let's see here. Kenny, you're saying that the biggest geological formation near you is the Volcanoes escarpment down near Austin. It's the closest fault line in your area. Awesome. There you go. Andre, the last eruption at Lawson was in 1921. Yeah, now those are part of the Cascade Cascade volcano chain, right? The volcanic eruptions that Nick was talking about didn't come from those cone volcanoes that we typically see up and down the Cascades, the Cascade Range. These were vents. These weren't a mountain that exploded. These were vents, much like the eruptions going on at parts of Kilauea. Sure, some of them are coming from the crater, but some of them are also coming from the side. It's a lot of that side action is what was happening back in the day. Back in the day, 15 million years ago, down there. And let's see here. See, Honda, does Yosemite sit on an old volcano? I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. There has been the hot spot that is now. Nick Zentner actually has an entire hour-and-a-half long lecture on this very topic. And Yellowstone is sitting currently on a hot spot. And that hot spot has remained steady. But as the crust of the earth moves over that hot spot, different things happen. Currently, right now, Yellowstone is on top of that hot spot. But before Yellowstone was on top of that hot spot, they can actually trace that hot spot through areas of Oregon and perhaps even further south into California. But yeah, what is Yellowstone actually didn't always, Yellowstone wasn't always Yellowstone. Yellowstone used to be in Oregon, or what we now call Oregon, as the, this is of course happening over millions of years, but as the crust moves over the hot spot, that's what, it's the hot spot that becomes the super volcano, as it were. And Yosemite is not anywhere near Yellowstone, you guys. I think you're getting Yosemite and Yellowstone too very confused. Yellowstone is in Montana, Wyoming, and a bit of Idaho. Yosemite is in Southern California. Very far apart. Very easy to get confused because they're both yellows. But Yosemite is not anywhere near Yellowstone, as it were. So now, Pussycat, you know I said ehele pohaku for a reason. You know what I did. That's right. So, I don't know what you're going to have to do, but I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to enjoy some Lono.
Ehele pohaku, the traveling rocks of Molokai. Okay, sustain. Okay, Mo Mike. Key of A if you got him. Lono Molokai hele pohaku mai waila vavauluve hana mene huni ke ia pola haoli mene huni e mai a me ai one by one hele pohaku to the Kaulana o Molokai a hele pohaku mai wahila ua vava uluwe hana mene uni ke ia pola haoli mene uni e mai a me ai one by one e hele pohaku to the other side e hele pohaku one by one e hele pohaku to the other side pa 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 pohaku to the other side. Luna o mauna I ke mapule uma ke kai ku home ili o pai ka hale ko inoa ele aka ko e pohaku o wailau one by one ele pohaku to the other side ele pohaku one by one ele pohaku to the other side pa 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 pohaku to the other side. O hele I luna o mauna I ke mapule uma ke kai ku home ili o pai ka hale ko inoa hele aku kako e pohaku o wailau one by one hele pohaku to the other side hele pohaku one by one hele pohaku to the other side pa 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 pohaku to the other side. Ia mai ana kapuana Molokai ka o mea hele pohaku one by one hele pohaku to the other side hele pohaku one by one hele pohaku to the other side pa 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 pohaku to the other. Let's go Meriune! Ia mai ana kapuana Molokai I ka o me ia hele pohaku one by one hele pohaku to the other side hele pohaku one by one hele pohaku to the other side pa 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 pohaku to the other side. Traveling rocks of Molokai. E hele pohaku.
All right, so for those of you who might have been keeping track of like what's going on, do you know why I picked that Ehele Pohaku song? The Traveling Rocks, because that big flood that we learned about just earlier today traveled some rocks across the continent, and so that's why I chose that particular song. Sometimes I try to have a theme, and this time I was able to pick out a song that vaguely sorta kinda worked. The Traveling Rocks of Molokai, or the Traveling Rocks of Eastern Washington, as you guys learned earlier. And I'm not sure if you were here for our Sunday school, but it wasn't biblical in the particular way that you might be thinking. It was biblical in the sense of fiery volcanoes and big floods and dinosaurs, but that's about as biblical as it got. We learned all about the Eastern Washington geology, and it sounds like you saw part of it. Fantastic. All right, you guys. So, yeah, exactly. Sunday Maps and Rocks Sunday School. That is exactly what we did. Now, coming up Wednesday, I have no idea what we're going to be talking about, and we probably won't focus as much on scholastic stuff like we did today, because today we learned a lot about a lot of things. But I want to thank you guys for hanging out and being patient and being willing to learn about a lot of things. And for those of you who might be like, I want to learn more of the things, be sure to look up Nick Zentner on the YouTubes, and you will be able to find out about all of the things. Okay, not all of the things, but some of the things. And so there you go. And I'm glad to know that, Darlene, you thought that was interesting. And Kenny, we could always talk about food on Wednesday, but I feel like we talked about food today too. We did talk about the durian fruit. Now, granted, that wasn't a deep dive on food like we normally take, but we did not abandon our food theme, because it seems like we always have to talk just a little bit about some kind of snacky poo on Chatter with Statter, right? Right. All right, then. Now, when it comes to StatterBox at the cinema, I'm not really sure what we're going to be watching next week. So, let's see here. What do we got? What we've got is, the two options that we've got are, hold on, Meet the Fockers. Now, this is kind of a long one, but I hear it's really funny. I've never seen it, but I hear it's good. And then we also have a cartoon called Ants. Probably not as long as the Fockers, because usually little kids' movies aren't that long. I have not seen this, but I've heard good reviews. So let's think about what we want to watch on Saturday. We don't have to vote on it here today, but these are the two options for StatterBox at the cinema on Saturday. And eMusic, thank you. I thought it was a good musical tie-in too. I was kind of proud of myself, because I was thinking like, oh, what Lono one can I pick today? And then suddenly it was like, why am I even thinking what one? The obvious answer is there. So so I went and stole it. And let's see here. Ants was on your special edition iMac from back in the day. And Kenny from the Cove, you're thinking Ants? All right, well, already we've got 2 Ants votes. So pulling ahead of the pack comes the Ants. And actually, you know what? I think Ants is a good idea, because if I remember correctly, yes, I do. Ben Stiller is in Meet the Fockers, and we just watched a Ben Stiller movie last night. So I'm thinking Ants might be it. And yeah, and then Darlene, exactly. You mentioned that you made beach vegetable soup, and then Kenny mentioned his sister-in-law's zucchini soup. Wait, I saw the zucchini. I didn't know that it was a soup. You can make zucchini soup? Well, I'm going to have to look into making zucchini soup. That sounds really tasty. And exactly, and where you Googly. That's what Zoolander did. He was not a very good Googleizer, is what he was not. Yes. So, all right. So I guess it's going to be Ants, which doesn't surprise me, because we always talk about food. It's a little bit of a picnic here at Chatter with Statter. So, of course, we have to expect some ants to show up. Right? See what I did there? And yeah, Kenny, if Melanie gives up her recipe, I'll keep it secret if she insists, but I'm very curious what it is. Andre, you can make any vegetable into a soup. It might not be good, but it will be soup. You bring up a very good point there, my friend. You bring up a very, very good point. And Terry in Scotland, good to see you. Oh no. Yeah, we are literally 1 minute left of the show. Today we talked about, today we had Sunday school, but not in the traditional sense. We had Sunday school in the sense of dinosaurs and volcanoes and floods, which, aside from the dinosaur part, sounds a little bit like the Bible, but it wasn't. I promise you, it was not. And So yeah, Kenny said the soup was good, so we know that hers is at least tasty. But Andre does bring up a good point, right? Oh, that's right. E-Music, you're an aunt already. We already have aunts here. That's right. That's right. All right. So I want to thank everyone who hung out here, who decided to hang out for Sunday school, despite the fact that the name probably wanted to scare them away. I want to thank everybody for subbing, putting down some gift subs, throwing down all the biddies in the world, clearly. And I want to, even though he's not here, I want to thank Nick Zentner for helping me create some educational series for you. And yeah, there we have it. So now you know why dinosaurs can't be found in Washington. And now you know that Pele has a cousin in Eastern Washington as well. There we have it. All right then. Hopefully see you on Wednesday. And if not, hopefully to see you StatterBox at the cinema on Saturday, where we're going to watch the ants. All right then. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. I'll see you later. Take care.